You're listening to Crystal and Emily on Love Your Shelf, the best librarian podcast in the extensive and highly competitive field of librarian podcasts.
Oh, hello.
We just amuse ourselves with our
cracking each
fake,
other up. Hi
welcoming.
there.
I'm sure it's very clever. Everybody loves it.
Yeah. Cracking up.
Yeah. So we are here with Love Your Shelf, episode 3.6. And it's the end of September, and the weather is turning cooler.
Ooh.
And we're so excited, and we would really rather be doing this outside.
Yeah, it is a perfect day outside today, and yesterday was too.
I think we need to go on location.
Yeah.
For the podcast.
Yeah, we should start doing that for sure.
Nobody cares if there's sounds and trains and cars and dogs.
The sound of cars honking at each other at Kroger across the street, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so we'll work on that.
Yeah.
But so today we're going to talk about, we're going to revisit the classic segments that we started last time. But I wanted today to be a special spotlight day, and I want to spotlight some authors who I really like. Then they have multiple works. Turns out I didn't think about this at all, but they're all women.
Oh,
and they all write. Each of their books is very different. They each have a voice, obviously, that's recognizable. But they write in different genres and kind of reinvent themselves.
Cool.
Some to more of an extent than others, but definitely keep you guessing. They're not just writing the same old thing.
Cool.
Rewriting it over and over. So, I'm going to start with one who's only written a couple of books, but who I hope is going to continue.
Keep it going. And
I've talked about her, at least one of these books before, on a podcast, but it never hurts
on
to
a
revisit.
Podcast. A different podcast or this one?
Just some podcast. Who knows?
Who else do you podcast with, Crystal? Tell me now.
There's so many. I can't really. That's all I do all day.
Your
is
podcasts.
Bounce from cast to cast.
Anyway.
But the first one that I'll talk about is Audrey Niffenegger. And her most famous book is The Time Traveler's Wife.
Yes.
And it was made into a movie, which is really not bad.
Yeah.
But it's a good book. And I got into her, actually, way back when I was doing my doctoral studies, and I was studying various media and different types of transmedia, basically, works that don't really fit in one kind of medium or one kind of genre.
Okay.
And she is a book artist, which my sister is too. And
that's cool.
Yeah. And so she makes books as art pieces.
Well, and I think, if I remember correctly, it has been a long time since I've read The Time Traveler's Wife, but isn't the main character an artist, works with paper and stuff?
Yes, exactly.
That's cool. I just thought about that.
Yeah, and so it's a good book. It's very touching, heart-wrenching, actually.
Yeah. I was 16 when I read it and didn't know what I was getting into.
Yeah.
We were on a trip and my mom had it, and I just started reading it and couldn't put it down.
And then cried, probably.
Yeah.
Pretty sad.
Yeah.
But definitely good. It's not one. It's not a bad cry. It's a good cry.
It's just, I don't know. I think the story is worth it.
Yeah.
And I'm somebody who's I don't want to feel too many feelings. I'm going to avoid this until I'm ready. And I got through it just fine. So I recommend it.
Yes. Well, so in addition to her book arts, and I believe she's still a professor. She teaches.
Oh, okay, cool.
I want to say in Chicago, Illinois, somewhere.
Cool.
But she also wrote a book called Her Fearful Symmetry. And
good title.
Yes, and it's a ghost story.
Fun.
And so very creative. I love her. I like that she's incorporating, the lifestyle of an artist, but then taking it in these inventive directions.
Right.
So, Audrey Niffenegger. check her out.
Cool.
And then another one is Nicole Krauss. And she wrote, her most famous book is called The History of Love. And it's like sort of a big story, but it's also told, about it like, a small...
Okay.
The small interconnections, between people, but it's a big story.
Cool.
And she's also written a book called Great House, which is basically about a desk that contains kind of secrets that connect people throughout different times, essentially, and connects these people that have different stories. And
I like that.
Yes. And then another one. It's another very different book is called Forest Dark, and it's set in Tel Aviv, and it's about an older man, basically, and sort of his musings at the end of his life, and just a real departure from her other books. Right. And then the most recent one of hers that I've read is a book of short stories called To Be a Man. Which, so here she's like thinking about, what gender means and how that shapes our lives and other things that we do. But it's all in a series of loosely connected short stories.
Cool.
So I definitely recommend her. She's, compared to Niffenegger, she's more of a literary writer, I would say.
Okay.
Niffenegger's work is probably a little more popular.
Yeah.
Kind of. But both good and not necessarily
just different.
Yeah, not better or worse, but just more I get literary is the only thing
I know what you mean.
And then lastly, I think in terms of like this sort of spotlight authors is Kate Atkinson, and she has written a ton.
I know. I was about to say I know that name.
Yes. She wrote Life After Life, which came out, I don't know, 8 years ago or so, something like that.
Okay.
And it is a big, wild, like postmodern kind of book. It starts out with it's basically a character who is kind of reincarnated over and over and over.
Cool.
And so that's the life after life.
Neat.
And so it starts out, and the life is very short. It's like a child, like a baby that dies at birth or something like that.
Oh, wow.
But then comes back
as something or someone else.
Yes, but has these memories of these things, and it sort of centers on the family that surrounds this main character that keeps coming back.
Yeah.
And it features a huge portion of it is in World War II.
Cool.
In Britain, and so it is a really, like, I guess the word that people use all the time in like book reviews is sprawling. It's like it's a lot going on. There's the stories of all of this family, but then you've got this kind of sort of supernatural element to it. This real unusual kind of reincarnation thing that's going on.
I like it.
And then right after that, a book came out of hers called A God in Ruins. And it's about just one of the characters from that family, from Life After Life. And it's just kind of a straightforward story about his life. And so it's almost like, oh, you thought you were going to, get some supernatural, wild, postmodern, metafictional thing. No. Here's just this real straight story about this guy. But it's still,
right.
Great. It's just keeps you guessing, for sure. And then after that came a book called Transcription, which is sort of a spy type thing. It's about a woman who in World War II, I'm pretty sure that's what it is, who is doing transcriptions, like listening to recordings and just another like very different kind of
different from the other two.
Completely. Other two, yeah.
Cool.
And then she has a mystery series.
Awesome.
With the character Jackson Brody. And so that's another like through line that's going on. So she's just constantly, I'm just amazed at.
I was about to say, I cannot imagine. Yeah. I don't know. The idea of creating one character is a lot. I don't know, just like totally putting yourself inside a person's mind, and then I don't know, just I can't. I don't think my brain is big enough to. It's not sprawling.
Yeah, mine either. But it did, and sometimes that kind of thing can be frustrating because, or at least it was for me when I first started reading her, because the first thing that I read of hers was Life After Life. Mm-hmm. And it's impactful. It's this sort of big ideas and very inventive, and just the structure of it is unusual. And then, when I read A God in Ruins, I was like, oh, I was expecting that.
Yeah.
And didn't get it. And I kind of kept reading the book thinking, well, when is this going to happen?
When's this, going to turn around or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, it never did, obviously.
Yeah.
But once you kind of let go of that expectation, then the excitement comes from what's she going to do this time,
embracing it for what it is, yeah.
So I really, really like all of those writers.
Neat.
Just so happens that they're all women. And then I just picked up the newest book by Jojo Moyes, who I've talked about before plenty of times. Mm-hmm. And she's definitely more like on the Niffenegger end of things. She's a little more popular in her style. But she has a book out now called Night Music. And she's another one who... She does tend to write things that have sort of like a romantic bent. Mm-hmm. I would not call them romance novels at all, but they have that,
Sure.
And sometimes she's categorized as women's lit, which I don't like either. I don't like that kind of idea.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. So she's written tons of books. Many, I think, the most popular ones are probably like Me Before You, and then there were movies that were made of that. But she's written tons of others, and there's lots of sometimes she writes historical things. Sometimes she writes more like Me Before You is a contemporary thing, and it's kind of a tearjerker, and there's a trilogy of them, of that same set of characters.
What is that one about? Why do I...
It's about a young woman who becomes a caretaker for a young man who's paralyzed.
Okay.
And he's super rich and had been like a playboy, and now he's paralyzed and he's really angry and kind of abuses her a little bit.
Okay.
And then, of course,
whatever
happens from there. But then there's, that's very sad story, and but there's 2 more books on her.
Okay. I guess I don't know. I thought that might sound familiar after you explain that, but it doesn't really. So I don't know. I'm sure I've heard of it. That's probably I've just heard the title or something.
Well, and I'm trying to think of the actress's name who plays the main character in the movies, and here I am once again where my brain is failing me. I
can do a Google.
Yeah. Well, she was, in Game of Thrones.
Emilia Clarke?
Yes.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yes. So she plays the young woman who's the caretaker, and she's like quirky and fun, and in the books she's more like not conventionally beautiful, and
just try to make Emilia Clarke not conventionally beautiful.
Yeah, it was like, how movies are.
It was like Keira Knightley in Pride and Prejudice. Come on.
Yeah. Exactly. Are we really?
Yeah, she's so normal.
Yeah. And she's so, but she's also supposed to be goofy and clumsy and quirky.
Yeah,
and she does that part of it.
Sure.
But, come on. But anyway, but those books are good. And then Night Music is another very different book about a mother and daughter, a family that loses their father, husband. And so there's I haven't finished it, but I picked it up, And I thought, as I was, thinking about these other ones, I was like, well, that really fits into the same theme, because she's always writing things that are kind of departures of different things.
Cool, yeah.
And then, along the lines of the spotlighting somebody, I want to kind of change it up and mention an actor who I really like, who does lots of different things, and that is Lee Pace, because I just saw...
Who is that?
He's the main character from Pushing Daisies.
Yes, so he is.
He's
great.
The pie maker.
He's so adorable in that too.
He's pretty much adorable in everything.
God.
And he's from Texas.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I always love that so much?
It's like we could just bump into him, anytime.
Yeah, in the, one of the biggest states
exactly.
in the United States.
And he's not like a person who's in the public eye, and he just does some, really great roles.
Yeah, cool.
So I happened to think about him because I saw that coming up on Apple TV, I think it's this weekend, is a new series called Foundation, which is based on an Isaac Asimov story.
Okay.
And looks good. He's in it. And I was like, ooh, wanted to watch it last night, and it wasn't out yet.
Dang, and I feel like I want to do an Apple TV trial, but it's only a week, and I'm just... I'm so bitter that there's another one that I'm going to want.
It really is getting out of control.
It is. I saw somewhere somebody said we're on our way to reinventing cable.
Exactly. Because it really is a problem. And I thought, there for a while, I was like, oh, we've got this figured out. We've got...
Yeah.
I can handle doing Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Although...
Then HBO Max.
They each have their problems.
Yes.
Like Amazon Prime is ridiculous to search, and it's not
user-friendly. A lot of the formats need a lot of help, and I don't really get it. I'm just...
HBO Max is great, but they're adding weird TV stuff to it now. And you have to I have an app called Just Watch that I have to use to figure out where anything is before I go searching for it.
Yes.
Because you don't want to have to go to each app and try to search for something you want to watch.
Yes.
So
I'll be like, I know I've seen this one somewhere. It's streaming somewhere. Yeah. And I'll usually Google where is this streaming or whatever. Yeah. But no.
But then there's Sundance. There's a lot of things on that I like. There's of course Stars. And
I had BritBox for a while. I loved having BritBox. I stopped it because I wasn't using it for a while, but there's some great British TV on there.
There was something on Fubo that I really wanted to watch.
Yeah, we did a Fubo trial.
Yeah. I ended up getting it because I forgot to cancel it.
Which is basically like paying for cable.
100%. It's like $80.
Oh my God.
I was so mad. But and then I had already watched all of the things.
Yeah,
that
I don't care now.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So
yeah, we did. We were watching there was some show that we wanted to watch the night it came out, and it was me and Nick and my sister and her boyfriend, and we found out. I hope nobody picks up on this and takes it away. That you can just make up as many email addresses, because I feel like a lot of places did away with that, and it was you've got to do this by your credit card.
Yeah.
This was just email addresses. So Callie's boyfriend Ivory kept just creating email addresses every week.
Now, out there in our listening world, don't do that.
Don't do that. That's bad.
It's probably very bad.
We don't do it anymore. I don't have $80.
Right? What are you going to do? No, but they do. They make it really hard, and they keep creating. Now there's the Disney Plus.
Yep.
And it's exhausting.
It is.
We just want to watch the stuff. Y'all figure it out.
Just find a better way.
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome to my TED Talk.
Good luck.
Yeah. Or thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Not welcome, because I'm already done with it.
Welcome and thank you. Goodbye.
So, Lee Pace.
Yes.
The first thing I ever saw him in was on... Back when HBO and all of those had, the HBO movies were not, these huge productions. They were more indie kind of thing. and he was in a film called Soldier's Girl, which
never
really
heard of
good.
it.
Yeah. You should check it out for sure. And then
is it still on HBO? It was an
maybe
HBO thing?
it was an HBO.
Oh, okay, cool. Then I bet it is.
But there's another movie like that, one about women's suffrage that was an HBO movie like back in the early 2000s and or late 90s maybe. And it's not anywhere. Oh. So I don't know how they're doing that.
So that doesn't mean, okay.
Doesn't mean, but maybe. Try to find it. If you can find it, you should watch it.
Cool, yeah.
And then, of course, Pushing Daisies, which was a very short-lived, sadly,
so underrated
series.
Yeah.
It was so adorable.
Precious.
But sad and very quirky.
Yes.
And colorful and funny.
Yes.
And
who was the female actor?
She's British.
British.
Anna.
Still not.
Is her first. Anna Friel.
Oh, okay. Maybe I wouldn't have thought of that.
But so he plays.
Chenoweth was maybe in it.
Yeah,
too?
Kristen Chenoweth plays his like waitress.
That's right.
And so Lee Pace plays a young man who, as a child, gets this ability bestowed upon him. I don't remember what happens. I don't either. How it happens. It just happens that he finds out that anything that he touches dies. Mm-hmm. But it has like a minute, or there's a time frame where if he touches it,
anything that dies comes back to life, right? For like a minute or something.
Oh, but then if he touches it again, it dies forever.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Yes.
Okay, let me start back over again.
Yes.
So he finds out that if he touches something that has just died or is dead, that it comes back. But then if he when he touches it again, it dies
forever,
permanently.
Yes.
But he has like a time period in there before things go bad. If he has to do it because then stuff happens.
Right.
It's not convoluted like that. It makes sense. In the story,
it really does. It's like he's solving mysteries and
yes. So he kind of uses this. Well, cut to he grows up and he's had this childhood friend who's a girl, and then at the start of the series she has died, and then he has all of these memories of her, and he goes and he touches her and brings her back to life, but he can never touch her again or she'll die. She's permanently
dead forever.
Yes. So that's the big problem between the two of them. And it's
ongoing every single episode.
Yeah. And so there's quirky, funny, he gets involved with this private detective, and the detective uses him because he can bring back murder victims and find out what happened to them and stuff like that. But throughout the story is this love story between him and his childhood.
Well, and no one else knows, so everyone is just like, oh, she didn't die, I guess. She's just back, and this is great.
And she's kind of hiding out. Because she doesn't want people to find out.
Oh, wait, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of, something happens later. Anyway.
Yeah. So, but it's really cute. And he has a pie restaurant.
Adorable.
Called The Pie Hole.
Adorable and quirky.
And it's super cute. And anyway, go watch Pushing Daisies. I was so distraught when it got canceled.
Right?
Yes.
It was only 2 seasons. I remember I was in college, freshman or sophomore, my roommate and I discovered it, and we watched it all the way through. It's such a great memory I have. It's a great show.
Yes. And then he was in the opposite show called Halt and Catch Fire.
Yes.
And it's about the early days of computer programmers. And he plays kind of a complicated / bad guy. Yeah. It's a really interesting show that goes from very, very early 80s to getting into the 90s and follows these people who are, in the startup tech kind of world and how that grows and changes and it's very dramatic.
Yeah, I never watched it, but Nick did, and so I would kind of see bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
And I was stressed out.
Yes.
And not in a bad way, but just oh my God, there is always something happening.
Yeah.
And his character is really intense in that.
Yes. Yeah. But it was really good.
Yeah.
And then I think probably my favorite thing that he's been in outside of Pushing Daisies is a movie called The Fall, which is a beautiful film. It is.
I don't know if I've seen it.
Oh, you got to watch it.
Okay.
You have to watch it. It's he plays a stuntman in Hollywood, and it's this big adventure kind of thing.
Cool.
And I can't really, if I try to explain it, it's going to sound ridiculous, but you should
More ridiculous than us trying to explain Pushing Daisies?
Yes. It's by the same filmmaker who made the movie The Cell, which is a horror film with Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
And but it's also just beautifully, richly filmed. You should see both of those if you're like into cinematography and stuff like that. But The Fall is great. And then he's also been in like the Twilight movies and the Hobbit movies and Marvel movies. He's done a lot of
oh my gosh,
big blockbuster films, but as kind of
background characters.
Smaller characters.
Yeah.
So, coming up, Foundation on Apple TV. I can't wait because he's in it.
Go Lee Pace.
Yes. And so, let's see. Oh, well, I saw that advertisement about the Foundation because I've been watching the morning show on Apple TV, and there are it's just one season, I think, but it's Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon, which I don't typically care for their films at all, and I hesitate to say that I like them as actresses, but it's a good show. Yeah. And they do a great job. Yeah. And Steve Carell is also, he plays a despicable person.
Oh my gosh. I kind of love that. He's so like, he's Michael Scott, you know? And so.
He's definitely stretching in this one.
Yeah, I like that.
And
what was the movie he was in that was nominated for a Fox something? He was nominated for it several years ago, and it was kind of a messed up movie, I want to say. Was it about wrestling or something? He plays this really, like, intense coach or something.
I didn't see whatever that's
I think he has a fake nose and everything in it. He was not Steve Carell in any way, shape, or form in that movie. It was really weird. Anyway. I don't know what it is now.
We'll have to look it up and get back to you and see what this is. But in the morning show, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's kind of, nobody admits that it's loosely based off of something like, Good Morning America or whatever, but that's basically, what it is. And it starts off with the Steve Carell character gets Me Too'd. Essentially, and he faces allegations of impropriety at his workplace, and so Jennifer Aniston plays his co-host, and then Reese Witherspoon plays this quirky
Reese,
quirky country girl who's like a firebrand little journalist.
Love it.
And she comes in and
I bet she does it so well.
Yeah,
she really does.
Yeah, she does. And so I didn't know, I had seen that this had been out for a while. Yeah. But I was like, oh, this doesn't seem intriguing. But I've been watching Apple Plus lately, and so I saw that and I got hooked. And,
cool.
Yeah. So I watched the whole season, and I'll be looking for the next one. Because it's not out yet.
Almost rolled her eyes when she said yes, I liked it a lot.
Now we gotta wait a year to see the rest of it.
For real though.
I am definitely spoiled.
I know. We all are. Yeah. They've done this to us. Yeah. So
heavy sigh. And and I also finished watching 9 Perfect Strangers.
The final finished it yet.
The final episode I watched last night.
Yeah.
And it it wound up being really good.
Cool. Okay, good. We got about halfway through, so and Nick and I said we wanted to wait for it to be finished so we can just watch it all the way through. So cool.
Yeah. So it was definitely worth the time.
Nice.
And so, like I started last time, I do want to have a little segment about classic short story.
Uh-huh.
And I was reminded of this one from a book that I referenced last week, The Lonely Hunter, about the single people. And
the sad single
singletons. So Carson McCullers wrote a short story called The Heart is a Lonely Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the reference.
Yes.
And this is a Southern Gothic, atmospheric, like early postmodern short story that everybody should read.
Yeah.
It's really good. I don't want to really say anything about like the content of it, but Carson McCullers is fantastic, and that is her most famous short story. And I love that whole era of short stories. It's kind of coming on the heels of Faulkner, and there's just, Southern Gothic is so rich, and it, we grew up in the South.
Yeah.
And East Texas is definitely like steeped in all of that.
Yes.
And it just makes me think of like my grandmother's magnolia trees.
Well, and your memories are kind of like have that lens now. Yes.
And there's the sinister side of all of it,
right?
And like, it's this beautiful, rich green, like I don't know, background or whatever. This beautiful land, but then the sinister side of the. Which can manifest in lots of different ways.
Sure.
This one, it's in a particular way, but there's other issues that come up in Southern Gothic stories, like the issues of race and misogyny and all this other stuff.
Right.
And then, of course, in some of that, there's the supernatural elements and, superstition and stuff like that. So if any of those things sound intriguing to you, you should read The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. Or just any Southern Gothic, particularly short stories in the Southern Gothic tradition are great. And so, And I think that's pretty much, that's going to wrap me up. Yeah.
We're going to end on a Southern Gothic note?
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to having lots of new stuff to talk about next time.
Yeah.
And, of course, we're entering the end of September, as we mentioned at the top, and going into October for the big read. We do have to shout out the big read again. That tomorrow, which is Friday the 24th of September.
Yes,
24th.
Yes, that's right.
I had to pause for a second. We're going to be downtown with Knack Snack Friday. There's going to be live music and a bunch of food trucks and us.
And we'll be free House of Mango Street books.
Exactly. We're going to have some free books. We'll be, have other freebie stuff that we're going to do. And it'll be lots of fun. And we're ready to kick off
come
the big read.
I can't see into the future, but if the weather is anything like it has been, it's going to be magical.
You can see in the future because I'm going to say you just announced what the weather forecast is tomorrow.
It's going to be magical.
It's going to be now. And it's going to stay that way.
That's right.
Throughout the month of October into November.
For Day of the Dead and my wedding.
Yes. Yes. We won't talk about how Day of the Dead is the same date as your wedding.
Whoopsie.
Yeah. We're working on forgiving you.
Crystal says she's joking, but I think she really is holding a grudge.
It'll be great. We didn't need
and
your
the
help.
irony is that I'm getting married like across the street, like.
Oh yeah, we're gonna come. Say hi.
Yeah. It's gonna be a Day of the Dead themed wedding.
Yes. No. We congratulate you.
Thank you. Yes.
We didn't need your help anyway. It'll be fine.
I probably would have just stood around frozen somewhere. I don't know.
No. But it's going to be beautiful.
It is.
For both of our big events that we're having that day.
Yes. Truly.
And so hopefully we will see all of our wonderful listeners.
Yes.
Out whenever we're doing all of this stuff.
Yep. All the action starts now.